Hello, I'm pleased to be with a top executive from SAP, Scott Russell. You're part of the executive board of SAP, in charge of, a little challenge, customer success. So, a quick introduction question. Digital transformation is the big topic, I guess, and Accenture had coined a term, SMAX, the four transformation being social, mobile, analytics, and cloud. Is it top of the agenda today for your clients?
So first of all, great to be here. And I think SMAC is a great term, but the reality is digitisation and sustainability is at the top of a customer's agenda. What are they trying to do today? Well, we've just faced a pandemic like no other, but their businesses needed to adapt. They needed to transform. They needed to handle supply chain challenges. They needed to address customer challenges, inability to be able to serve in ways that they did before. But they also need to do it sustainably. So when I speak to customers, thousands of companies around the world, and at SAP, we're privileged to serve over 450,000 companies who run business for the planet. Their top of mind agenda is, how do I go from a linear economy, which is producing over 91% waste through standard production, to a circular economy, a regenerative economy, a way to be able to reuse and be able to minimize waste and ultimately not only have a profitable business, but a sustainable business.
Sustainability is above digital transformation.
Well, the two are interlinked, because to be sustainable, you must be digital. I'll give you an example. Businesses for the last 50 years working with SAP have been outstanding at managing their top line. How do I grow my company? How do I achieve my revenue targets? How do I expand? And also to do so profitably. So managing the factors of production, the factors of supply, the factors of distribution, and ultimately serving their customers in the most wonderful ways. That's all underpinned by digital technology. But now companies are now saying, well, I have to achieve, I play my role to achieve what is a collective issue around the sustainability of the planet. How do I contribute that in the day-to-day running of my business? I do so through technology to digitize. So solutions in SAP like the Sustainability Control Tower that gives real-time insights into how am I contributing to my sustainable impact, just as I am for my economic impact, and to do so in an active way through the production of my business.
So from company resource planning to global resource planning.
Global resource planning, and one where you're not only looking within the boundaries of your business. Like all companies, you'll look at what your customers expect, and more our customers, consumers, are expecting and looking to buy or consume or work or engage with companies that have not only got a sustainability target, but they're able to measure and deliver upon that. And likewise, when you think about your suppliers, we have the world's largest business-to-business network with Ariba. Nearly 5 million companies trading and doing business connecting every day, bringing insights about not only their economic standing and how they can deliver inventory, for example, but they're also doing so in a sustainable manner and being able to measure that across your value chain. Only then will businesses truly make the positive impact that it must do. We have no choice. We're in a state of crisis and moving from a high-level responsibility to a true accountability to play a sustainable role for the planet's future.
Great. And in light of this true accountability and, of course, the COP26 taking place right now, what are some of the best practices to implement right now?
Yeah, so there's so many great ideas. We're super excited. We're about to launch a new product called Responsible Design and Production. So I spoke before about the linear economy and the amount of waste that is generated that goes to landfill through a standard economy. Actually, 80% of the waste that's generated can be impacted at the point of design. So if you think about fashion, for example, which is so wonderful here in the city of Paris, you're able to then, if a designer, when they're designing their products, can not only understanding the needs of their consumers, the factors of production, where the materials come from, but does it actually create a negative or a positive impact on their carbon footprint, greenhouse gas emissions, and other measures. We're able to do that through responsible design and production as a way to be able to give a designer those insights to make better decisions. And I've talked about this a lot. To truly create a sustainable outcome, we can't report on the result at the end. We talk a lot in technology about the data being critical. That is true. We need the data to provide those insights. But it can't be in arrears. It needs to be provided at the time that the process, the decision making actually occurs, and to do so in the most sustainably efficient way. So I talk about businesses through products like responsible design and production. Companies can measure their top line, they can measure their bottom line, and they deliver their green line every single day.
So it's all about KPI, what gets measured, gets done?
It's amazing in the rule of business, what gets measured gets done is a foundation that all companies, no matter what industry they're in, is at the core of what they do. And historically, it's always been for economic purposes. But now it has to be for sustainability purposes. And back to your question, it's at the top of the agenda. So many customers that say, look to us, and they've embedded our technology in running their business every day. The CEOs will say, Scott, we want to not only run digitally, but how do I achieve the targets that not only that my shareholders expect and my customers expect, but actually we expect of ourselves. We know what we want to achieve. We need your help in how to achieve. And that comes through measurements, KPIs, but also the data at the time the decisions get made to be able to influence it and ultimately achieve it.
So not just revenue and profit, but also ESG metrics.
Yeah, and it's interesting because you look at the financial markets. The reality is our shareholder group are very stringent on businesses around their economic progress. Are they achieving their revenue, their growth, their aspirational targets? And they're also very clear about the expectations about profitable growth. Well, sustainability needs to be profitable, and profitable is sustainable. You know, the two go hand in hand, and that is underpinned by digital technology to enable that.
Great. So it's all about empowering the companies regardless of their scale through digital transformation.
Yes, and I'll give some examples of customers that have done this. So Danone, who are a wonderful company, using KPIs to measure in their value chain the measures of production that not only impact that economic point, but the impact on sustainability. So they're able to measure it at the point of production, at the point of distribution. They're able to then use levers to be able to reduce their greenhouse gas or carbon or other factors that will impact sustainability, and then put it into their daily operation in partnership with SAP. We have countless examples where companies are combining digitization and sustainability. And let's face it, in our lives today, we wake up in the morning and we're digital. Everything that we do. But if we are able to give the insights and the data for allow us to make better decisions, I think we'd all like that as a consumer. We'd all like that as a citizen. We want to do good. Businesses are the same. They actually want to do good, but sometimes they need the insights, the data, the measures at the time they make those decisions to help them achieve that. And that's what SAP does.
Managing all this data is really complex. So what does your new product, the July product, which is the Sustainable Control Tower, what does it bring, and who will interact with it? Is it for the production manager? Is it for the C-suite?
Oh, great question. It's actually both. So the Sustainability Control Tower from SAP gives a business a one-time visualization of the measures of sustainability inside the company. It will look at everything from, for example, the carbon footprint of the travel that the employees and partners have made, the measures of their supplier base, and what their greenhouse and carbon emissions, and be able to give that real time. Their factors of production, again, KPI. It's very much for the executive leadership to be able to have a real time, anytime lens of their business. Think of it like an airplane control tower, seeing what's happening and making real-time decisions that will make it not only in the most efficient way, but the most sustainable way. But even at shop floor and in production, being able to give the data at the next level of granularity for production managers or other key functions that can influence and make better decisions, more sustainable decisions.
So building the bond between the production floor and the boardroom. And would it be fair to say it might be built on top of a very significant acquisition you've made in France, which is Business Objects?
Business objects, so the use of real data, real-time data, and being able to do so at scale. It absolutely leverages the underlying analytics technology through the wonderful company of Business Objects into the SAP family. But it is the combination about the data and the insights and being able to visualize that, but also embedded in the process. Because only when it's embedded in the process, when business gets done in any form, whether it be in the customer interaction, when a consumer wants to make a better decision about a product from a company's sustainable footprint or carbon footprint, well, they need that information in the consumer's hands. That's through the process, through the customer experience process. So we're able to embed that not only at the visualization for the executive level, but at the point that wherever that occurs throughout the business. And that's effectively what SAP's done. We celebrate our 50th anniversary next year. We were founded in 1972. And at the core of our foundation was around enterprise resource planning, being able to plan finite resources and do it in the most efficient way. Now, it started with economic resources, but it's now moved to the planet's resources, global resources, sustainable resources, and to do so in the most efficient way. And it's embedded in the way the business run and through their processes. So we feel like we play an active role to really help companies achieve this. The world's top companies rely upon SAP. We feel that responsibility, and it is our obligation and our expectation that we're not only able to help them achieve their economic goals and their dreams and their visions through the use of our technology, but they will achieve their sustainable ones and beat and raise and exceed those targets, which, let's face it, is more important than short-term economic measures.
So you're obviously moving from financial objects and business objects type to sustainable objects. But to build on that, your next product launch will be announced in a few days. Can you dig a bit more there on the responsible design production, new tools? What's in there?
Yeah, so responsible design and production, inside SAP technology, we've got the ability to be able to help a company design its new products. So no matter what, if you're a consumer product in the fashion industry, like my example before, you could be in electronics. Design is at the point where most of the implications of not only economic but sustainable will be made. And so the responsible design and production is about giving insights at the raw material level, at the detailed level of understanding. By designing the product this way, not only do I understand how much it's going to cost me and potentially how I'm going to get return on that investment, but what's the impact from a sustainability? Am I going to be increasing greenhouse gas emissions? Am I going to be improving or reducing carbon? Have I been able to contribute circularity? Maybe there is products that have been reused, and that's a big element of responsible design and production. The ability to be able to understand how you can get reuse through to the design process that then contributes to the circular economy. And as I said at the beginning, we're moving from that linear economy to a regenerative economy, which is fundamentally circular.
On your new product launch, Responsible Design Production, could you give us a few more details about that?
Yeah, sure. So many businesses, in fact all businesses, are not only facing pressure from their shareholders and from their consumers or their customers, but also from regulators. In fact, COP26 is about the regulatory environment that countries around the world are going to expect on not only governments and citizens, but on businesses. So responsible design and production not only meets those economic reasons that a business has, but the regulatory ones. And it's difficult. So we ensure that not only are we meeting the sustainability, but we're doing so under the measures that the regulatory environment, and it's constantly moving. One of the beauties of our technology is that we work across a very complex regulatory environment. And so being able to embed the expectations, the standards of those regulatory measures, not only of a single country, but many businesses operate globally, and being able to ensure that they address those and exceed those. So for example, the use of plastics in the design process, being able to measure and achieve and reduce so that they're addressing their responsibilities as a business under certain regulations.
All we've been talking about is transformation. And transformation is a bit of technology and a lot of leadership. And we're all about leadership.
Yes.
So tell us more about your belief on leadership. What makes a good leader, and what the heck is leadership?
Yeah. You used a great word that I think when I think about leadership, the word belief. I use two words, impact and belief. We've had a great conversation about impact. Leaders have a responsibility and an accountability to create a framework and an environment that has a positive impact. Positive impact not only on the world and the planet that we discussed today, but positive impact on employees. Is it an environment that they are able to, their health and their well-being of themselves, their families, their communities are being taken care of and understood? But also, are they being challenged? Have they got opportunities? So creating an environment where employees can have a positive impact, consumers being able to have a positive impact, and of course, impact on business, being able to achieve those goals. And leaders are very accustomed to being put under the pressure of achieving those economic, but the impact needs to be one that is positive. And leaders are accountable to create the environment. How do they do that? It's creating an environment of belief. I use the analogy, I love my sport, sports from all around the planet, but if you're, for example, a wonderful sport of football, the best teams are not always filled with the best players. In fact, they usually have a mix of talent, but the best teams believe in each other. They believe in the system. They believe in the method. They believe in the coaching and the support staff. They believe in the club. They believe in the environment that they're in. And that's instilled by leaders. It's instilled by an environment that is mutual. Things that we talk about, but you've got to ingrain in the behaviours like ethics, like integrity, but also empathy, understanding your colleague or other stakeholders and truly trying to maximize their success, not just your own. I truly believe that leaders create environments or don't, and the results follow from that. Quite often measures, it's interesting, everyone talks KPIs. KPIs are usually lagging indicators. It's a result of something that's already happened. Leaders are much more focused on the inputs. Am I creating an environment where I give my business, my people, an ability to succeed through impact and belief? And if they do, the result usually takes care of itself.
And what are the kind of belief that you're trying to seed at SAP? What kind of culture change have you helped lead?
Two areas that I guess I would talk very clearly about. The first, back to sustainability. We've been humbled but proud that for 14 years we've been rated the #1 company as it regards for software in the software industry for sustainability. So we have a proud track record that has been a long period of time around sustainability. But we believe we can, must, and will do more. Products such as Sustainability Control Tower, such as SAP Responsible Design and Production, are a part of a journey of which we will invest and engage and ensure that the capabilities of our technology can be leveraged by businesses in small, medium, and large all around the planet across all 25 industries to achieve a more sustainable outcome for our future. Now, that's not because we have to, but although we think we have an obligation, we put that responsibility on ourselves and that accountability on ourselves. So really embedding it into our DNA, looking at how we are creating our technology, but also as a business, how we can continue to improve, because all businesses can. But the second one, and the one that I'm passionate about, because at the beginning, in addition to sustainability, of course, is customer success. So how do you create customer success in a cloud technology company like ours? Well, you ultimately need to be focused on our customers' lifetime value. How are they maximizing the value out of the investment and the capabilities that our technology brings? Which means it's not just measuring my sales performance and the revenue performance, which is obviously important and part of my responsibilities, but an obsession around how do our customers use it? Are they getting benefit from it? Are they using responsible design and production the right way? Are there ways that we can improve that they can get more advantage to help their business run better?
I guess two bricks: implementation on the one hand, integration of the different pieces of technology on the other hand, and in use from the in-house teams.
Even more so, we talk about consumption and usage and value being ingrained. The reality is our technology is incredibly capable, amazingly capable, in fact. It is able to give businesses so much to be able to help their business run better, but sometimes without the right engagement, they might not know how, or they might not use it the right way, maybe not using the data in the right way. So being really focused on our customer success, I use this term with my team every day, customer lifetime value, a lifetime of value being generated for businesses. Because what I believe is very clear is when our customers, they depend on us. They run their companies, their mission critical systems running on SAP. So they need us to be at our best. But here's what happens. When we run at our best, they run at theirs.
Well, let's nail the problem. Is it because of implementation problems? Is it because the software just provides so many features that people cannot cope with, learning all of those? Is it also maybe because of other traps that the client might fall in? How do you solve the problem?
So the best way, for our cloud technology, because SAP in the business technology space leads the world in cloud business technology. And the beauty of the cloud is that the latest innovation is always available. We always bring our latest engineering, all of the latest insights, and make it available in the cloud.
Real-time upgrades.
Real-time upgrades, use. So then the trick is not the technology upgrade. That's the easy part. It's finding ways to use those innovations in a business effective way. And that's what my team does.
Is it also a lot about switching from a culture of superpower in the back end to UX leadership to have a better understanding of how users and your customers, how they leverage the company because it's just so intuitive? Now, Apple made its success by making it so intuitive.
True, making our technology easy, simple to use is clearly part of our design principles and that we do as well. But it goes a little bit further when you look at the challenges. So the way that we think about how we provide our technology is solving the end customer problem. The world understands the supply chain challenges of today. And actually many businesses leverages SAP technology to be able to better manage their supply chain planning. How do I plan and mitigate potential risks, but also provide flexibility when there is changes or disruption and being able to do so. But that actually translates to your customer side, because when you're a consumer and you want to order that product and you want to click and collect, you want to make sure it's delivered in the right form, to the right quality, at the right time, at the right price, and it's the sustainable factors of product. You can actually understand the impact of that. That all actually gets delivered through the supply chain. So not only are we able to help a customer experience, but it's fulfilled through the supply chain experience. So we tend to connect the dots. We bring those different facets together so businesses can see end-to-end rather than only focusing on my customer's UI experience or mobile experience or my production issues. SAP provides the technology that connects those, the data, the processes, end-to-end for companies that makes it easier for them to not only to deliver it well, but also flexibly move as disruption can and will continue to occur.
So leadership is about helping clients as well as employees. Let's get back a second on leadership. Some people make a big distinction between management, building organization, and leadership, growing people, the people aspect. What's your definition on leadership as opposed to management?
Yeah, I will come back to the word impact again in leadership. Leaders create an environment where impact can be generated, positive impact, of course, can be generated throughout the organisation. Impact can be about, I was in London yesterday and arrived into Paris today, and I'm going to meet our employees. And one of the questions is how, as I as a leader, can create an environment that it might be easier for them to have a positive impact. Maybe it's through the insights of data to make better decisions or give more real-time information to their customers when they're meeting with them, or latest understanding of our capabilities. It's having an impact mindset, not a management mindset. Clearly, and you know this well, there is a big distinction between management, which is an organisation, the scale of an operation to achieve an efficient outcome, versus leadership, which is creating an environment that empowers, instills, creates belief for people to grow and be their very best. Because let's face it, businesses are not different to human beings. We're creatures of habit. Mm-hmm. We know what we like, we do what we like, and we do it repeatedly. But we also want to do good. And giving an environment where we are able to grow and feel empowered and encouraged, well, leaders have the responsibility, not the opportunity, the responsibility to create a positive environment of impact. So individuals, teams, businesses, and the broader base of the business is in that manner.
In a different role, I teach a class on leadership. And a few days ago, we had a case on Satya Nadella and how he transformed the culture at Microsoft from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. Any reaction on switching the culture?
So first of all, Microsoft is a wonderful partner of ours, Satya and the organisation, and we collaborate a lot together. And it's very interesting when we look at that collaboration. We collaborate from a technology. How can we move to that growth mindset? But the growth is not just the business growth of us.
Personal growth.
It's personal growth. Instilling an environment through our collaboration together that through that co-innovation, we create better outcomes together than we could do separately, is a good example. And I think our CEO, Christian, and our leadership team share those values of that growth mindset. But the thing that I would say about leadership is human beings are very good at being able to detect when people aren't being authentic, when they're not being real. And often those cues derail. I talk about accidental diminishes. I'll give you a good example of leaders who might not realise. Leaders often think that when they're in a room, they need to speak because they're used to it. They're used
they need to listen.
Well, often it's the accidental diminisher of not understanding that by their nature and their and because of their position, others will passively sit back. And they might be happy to do so. But by letting that happen, you miss the opportunity of that growth, of that ability to elicit their ideas, their insights. So sometimes it's being able to understand that even though the intention might be good for leaders, by creating these accidental diminishes, it could actually end up being a negative. And so when you look at growth mindset, it's about trying to be the best version of ourselves, creating an environment that uplifts that. And by doing so, you feel good. And you want to do it again. And back to my view of habits, if I feel good and I want to do it again, I will keep doing so because it becomes a really vital part of my life. And whether you're a leader or no matter what business you're in, everybody wants to live in an environment where you've got that feeling of contribution and value.
Last question on leadership. Obviously, software does empower your clients, but that's also at the root level because you've done something correct in empowering your engineers, and there's a battle for engineering talent. So how do you empower your people and your engineers to solve and to build products and to solve clients?
Great question. We have over 30,000 engineers in our company today. We have, and those engineers are from all around the world. We're very proud of the fact that we are representative of the world and society, including here in France, where we have a wonderful engineering and labs team. It's been challenging. The reality is engineers love the environment of discussion and collaboration and ideation and doing so in a room, and we've been physically unable. But the reality is leveraging the use of technology, providing ways to stimulate that, but also understanding that as we navigated the way forward, we had to run with empathy. So we created and launched what we call the Pledge to Flex. And it's a pledge to our employees that irrespective of the current status of COVID and the environment and the regulatory environment, you've got the flexibility to make the best decisions yourself about where and how and when to work. But our only ask was to do so in collaboration, in consistency with their colleagues. And what's been amazing with our engineering teams is that they look for ways to connect with each other, but they'll do it in a different manner than maybe in the past. And as things open up, and we've been blessed that our products, our engineering, our innovation continues to accelerate despite the changes in environment. But I think it's partly because we created an environment that gave them the belief that they can do so in the new normal, whatever their normal is, and it's at an individual level.
So one last thing,
Please.
to conclude, if you were to define SAP culture of leadership in 3 words as a conclusion, what would be those 3 words?
Empathetic, impactful, sustainable.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.